Today's video is on how you can create any habit you want, whether it's for fundraising or for your life. Hi, I'm Trevor Bragdon with 7-Figure Fundraising. We all have habits we do every single day. And the great thing about habits is you do them automatically and they don't take much mental bandwidth and a lot of time. But how do you take some new behavior, something that you want to start doing over here, and then how do you make it so it's automatic, so you do it without thinking? Well, one way to do that is using the tiny habits method. And this method was created by Stanford professor BJ Fogg. And the whole premise of this is to start a new behavior, what you want to do is break it down to its tiniest part. So why you do this is any sort of behavior or any sort of new thing we want to do, we have to have 3 different components involved. So if you have a behavior, to do that, first you need to have motivation to do this behavior. And then you need to have the ability to do the behavior. So you need to be motivated, then you have the ability, and then you need a prompt, something to remind you to do the behavior. So every time we have a new behavior, you need these 3 components working together. But here's the challenge with all of it. Motivation is this really tricky thing. I think all of us who have started, exercise routines where we're going to work out 60 minutes a day, and then we fall off the wagon after a week or 2. We know that, your motivation can start out really high at the beginning, but then it starts to falter as, time wears on, and that initial motivation goes away. But what BJ Fogg understood, and really was the breakthrough with his tiny habits method, was if you can take that behavior and get it down to its tiniest point, so you don't have to worry about having loads of motivation to get going, you can start a habit. So let's walk through an example. You start by identifying a behavior that you want to change. So it could be you want to write more notes to your top donors, handwritten notes randomly throughout the year, not just when a check comes in. So that's the behavior. And then you want to identify what's the smallest part that I can do of that. And maybe the smallest part, that's something that takes less than a minute to do, could be I could address the envelope to the donor. But then you need to think about when are you going to have the ability to do that and what will be the prompt. So let's look at the ability. Well, to write an envelope, you're going to need some items in one place. You're going to need your envelopes, you're going to need a pen, you're going to need a print off of your donors with their address to make it really easy. Maybe you even want to have stamps there and your note card stationery all in one place. So if you put that together and you could set it on your desk so you have the ability to do it. And then you want to think about what's the prompt. What am I going to hook this to make it so I can do it automatically? Like for example, in my case, every time I come into my office, I put my laptop on its stand and I plug it in. That's something I do every single day. That would be a great prompt for writing these thank you notes. So what you could say is, every day when I come into the office, after I plug my laptop in on my desk, I will write one address to my major donors. And then after you do this behavior, you want to celebrate. And maybe what you'll do is after I write that address, I'll go get my first cup of coffee, or I'll eat a piece of chocolate, or something that makes you happy and makes you feel good. And what happens is each and every day that you do this tiny little habit, it becomes more and more ingrained in your routine. And if days you feel more motivated, you could write a little more. Maybe over time, you say, I'm going to write the address and then I'm going to write a first line. Or you get to the point where you take about 5 minutes each day and you write an address and you write a quick note to your donor. But the key is doing it consistently each and every day. So try this out for yourself. Think about something you want to change, some behavior. Think about, how do I take it down to the smallest little bit, something that takes less than 60 seconds? Where am I going to have the ability to do it? And what things will I need to put together to make that possible? and then think about a prompt. And then just use this simple formula that says, after I do your prompt, whatever you're linking that behavior to, I will, and then enter that tiny habit, and then I will celebrate by, and write in how you're going to celebrate. So try this out for 2 weeks. Let me know how it goes. And if you're interested in learning more about major donor fundraising, check out our video about our upcoming workshop on the 7-figure fundraising method that we have starting in just a few weeks.